Welcome! ZASLOW Show 2.0. It is a Friday, the 1st of December. Good to have you aboard, part of the Believe Podcast Network, and presented as always by our title sponsor, Anidjar and Levine, Accident Attorneys, 800-747-FREE, 800-747-3733. And of course, we did it, everybody. We made it. We got to Friday. We're here. We got a weekend that's upon us. The weather is very nice. Not as cold as it was earlier in the week, but that's okay. We still have the nice weather out. We got a fun show planned today. We had week 13. Week 13? Yeah, week 12? Week 12 of the NFL season, right? No, week 13. Yeah, I'm sorry. Week 13 of the NFL season. I'm sorry. Got going last night. Seahawks and Cowboys, really good game. Also, I mean, come on, everybody. You can see I'm in a great mood because we had the double dip last night. That's right. The Heat and the Panthers. I don't even have to say the elusive double dip because it's not elusive. It happens a lot. I mean, our basketball team, our favorite little basketball team, our favorite little hockey team, they're both very good. And of course, with all the action going on right now, yes, it is the holiday season, but man, all of our favorite pro sports leagues are in full stride, and BetOnline is your number one destination for all your sports wagering info. Up to the minute sports wagering news, odds, trends, predictions. BetOnline is the top spot for everything pro and amateur sports, and not just the big four. BetOnline has info available at your fingertips with both desktop and mobile access at any time for almost any sport that's played, from MMA to international soccer. Head to BetOnline today and remember to use our promo code BELIEVE, B-L-E-A-V, for your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. BetOnline, where the game starts. So, Thursday Night Football last night. Let's start a little bit with that, all right? You had the Cowboys. Cowboys win by 6 last night, and they improved to 9-3. The game was fun. Cowboys win 41-35. Seahawks cover, which was never really in doubt. The Seahawks were a 9.5-point dog. Yes, the Cowboys at one point were up 17-7, but the Seahawks would take the lead in the fourth quarter. They led 35-27. The Cowboys, though, a dominant fourth quarter pretty much. Dak Prescott, 29 for 41, 299 yards, 3 touchdowns. Dak Prescott's making his case for MVP. He's having a monster season, a monster statistical season. I mean, you look at what his numbers are on the year, and I already told you, and certainly the betting favorite is Jalen Hurts right now. And we'll get to that in a second. But when you compare their numbers side by side, Dak is having a monster season. Dak's having probably his best statistical season. I mean, he's completing over 70% of his passes, which is a career high. Right now, he's over 3,200 yards with 5 games remaining. So I don't know what the average, is there, but it's going to be probably his second most passing yards in a season. Back in 2019, he had 4,900 yards. I don't think he's going to surpass that, even though that was a 16-game season. And right now, 26 touchdowns to 6 interceptions. Remember, he led the league last year with 15 interceptions, only 6 right now. So he's curtailed that, and a plus 20 touchdown to interception ratio. His best year in that case was 21, which was 37 touchdowns to 10 interceptions. That's great. But you look at the Cowboys, they're now 9-3. Depending on what happens next weekend when you have Philadelphia at Dallas, which, by the way, could be for first place in the NFC East, okay? Depending on what happens there, we could be talking about Dak Prescott as the frontrunner for MVP. So, and I say that game could be for first place. You look right now, Philadelphia has San Francisco this weekend, which, by the way, San Francisco is a 3-point road favorite in Philadelphia. If Philadelphia loses that game, they're separated by 1 game going into Philadelphia-Dallas week 14. Philadelphia at that point will be they'll be a game up on Dallas and 3-0 in the division. Dallas will be 3-1 in the division. So if Dallas were to win that game, and Philadelphia loses this weekend ahead of that, they would be tied at 10-3, tied 1-1 season series. Division record, both the Eagles would be 3-1. The Cowboys would jump to 4-1. So at least for the time being, the Cowboys would own the overall tiebreak. So last night was a really big win for the Cowboys, and Philadelphia, San Francisco, which is the best game this weekend, is a monster game in that regard. But the overall point is, Dak Prescott, right now it's Jalen Hurts. Dak Prescott is making his case for league MVP. Thanks anyone who tuned in last night, ESPN Radio. I co-hosted with my girl Amber Wilson. Really great show, really great time. As always, love doing the show with her. So if you didn't hear the show, you can, I tweeted, I put on my Instagram and Facebook stories as well, a link to last night's show. So that's really easy. You can go back and listen to that. You can have some fun. You can have a few laughs with us. I'd appreciate that. I think she would appreciate it too. I don't know when I'm up with her again. That was kind of a last minute thing. I only found out on Wednesday. So, you know, sometimes I find out the day of, hey, can you hang out with Amber tonight? I'm like, of course I can hang out with Amber. So anyway, I'll let you guys know the next time. And I'm back on game day at the end of the month, working Christmas Eve. I mean, listen, I'm Jewish. I got to help out, you know? So I'm working on Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. And the next time I'm with Amber, I'll certainly let you guys know. But last night, Thursday Night Football, really fun game. A little bit ugly at times. You had so many penalties. But nonetheless, Dallas, they improved to 9-3. And they got a shot at probably the second. I mean, they got a shot at one of the tops, at the top spot still. I just laid it out to you. Even though if San Francisco beats Philadelphia this weekend, they then move to 9-3, and they become a contender again for the top overall spot. So that's what happened last night with Thursday Night Football. Major college football weekend with all the championship games. We'll do a little bit of that, actually. You know, I don't do a ton of college football on ZASLOW Show 2.0. We got to get to a little bit of it today, all right? Did a little bit of it last night on Amber and Ian. So I'll do some of that coming up. But first, let's start with the local stuff. We had a great night last night. So, you know how this is, I'll let you behind the scenes for a second. This is how my setup winds up going on a night like last night. I'm going to start, you know, we do our production meeting like 45 minutes, an hour before. And a little before the show starts, you know, I say to the folks there in Bristol, I'm like, all right, so I'm going to try and avoid the Panthers score tonight because I would like to watch the Panther game in full in its entirety. I'd like to not know what's happening there and watch it after we get done with the show at 10 p.m. So I say, I'm like, who's anchoring Sports Center? Who's doing the Sports Center updates for our show? Because I don't want to have the Panther game spoiled. And I'm sorry that I don't know the names of all the Sports Center anchors yet. And like, no, you don't have to worry about it because they don't always do hockey updates unless something big happens, you know, unless somebody sleeps with Connor Bedard's mother. So they don't always do hockey updates. Like, no, you're good. We won't spoil it for you and you're not going to have it spoiled. I'm like, nice. All right. And, ZASLOW, why don't you do that for the Heat? Well, here's the thing. There's no scenario where I can do a national sports talk show and not know what's happening during the Heat game. Like, the Heat game is on. I'm not going to be able to avoid it. It's going to be in the Sports Center updates. Amber follows along, huge Heat fan. It doesn't make sense to not be able to try and avoid the Heat game while I'm hosting a national sports radio show. Doesn't make sense. Not possible. So I have the Heat game on my iPad. I got Thursday Night Football on the TV here in the ZASLOW Mansion studios, which is, of course, the ZASLOW Mansion master bedroom, a few feet away from where the magic happens. Everybody knows that. So I get done with the show, and then I was able to watch uninterrupted. I mean, look, I had a pretty good pulse of what was going on with the Heat game, but then I'm able to watch, like, uninterrupted the last, 4 or 5 minutes of the Heat game, which, what a great fourth quarter. They probably saw in the Zoom, I was reacting while we were on the air to what was happening in that fourth quarter of the Heat game. What a great final 12 minutes from your favorite little basketball team. And then got done with that, and we go downstairs, we put the Panther game on. So I was able to watch the Panther game uninterrupted start to finish. And I love, it's so much easier to watch the Panthers on delay than the Heat because man, it's so easy just to fast forward through the commercials. I could bang out a Panther game in 70 minutes real time. So easy. With the Heat, it's a little bit harder. There's so many more whistles, so many more stoppages. It's so easy to watch the Panthers on delay. But anyway, let's start with the Heat from last night. And obviously the story. So everybody's available except Tyler Hero. Jimmy's back in the lineup. Bam's in the lineup. Haywood Highsmith's back in the lineup. And they're playing an Indiana team who comes into last night at 9. I think they came in at 9-7 or 9-8. And that team's fun. They're the highest scoring team in the league. They score a ton of points. Like I said yesterday, Tyrese Halliburton, he's not a top point guard. He's a top player in this league. He's approaching top 10 player in the entire league. Career high 44 points last night. He's terrific. And that Pacer team is fun. And the Heat are having a hard time keeping up with them. Hard times, daddy. The Heat are having a hard time keeping up with them. Pacers score, I think it was 73 in the first half. And it's like, but the Heat are keeping up with them. Hell, the Heat scored a ton of points the game right before that, all right? So the Heat are keeping up. They fall behind by 10 in the third quarter. And Jimmy Butler then goes crazy in the third. He's having a monster game. They go into the fourth down by 5, I think we were. And so Jimmy's sitting at the start of the fourth quarter like he normally does. Bam's already out. Bam aggravated the hip injury. He actually wanted to return at the start of the third quarter. And Coach Spoelstra told him, look, you're laboring. I'm making the call. I'm not putting you out there. Like, rest up. Get ready for this same Indiana team coming up this weekend, which, by the way, Heat play the Pacers again at Kaseya Center tomorrow night. Will that be in big game or not a big game? I don't know. Not going to spoil it for y'all. But it is Friday, so we got big game or not a big game coming up. And I'll also tell you, big movie or not a big movie. Yeah, that's right. Haven't done it in a few weeks, so we'll get back to big movie or not a big movie this week, today as well. But the Heat get into the fourth quarter, and here's where we got to talk about Jaime Jaquez Jr., your new favorite player. And so, with Jimmy Butler out, we already saw, like, the game the other day with Milwaukee. The rookie's got the ball in his hands in the fourth quarter. Crunch time, tight game, going up against Giannis. Now, he didn't necessarily score in those instances, but the confidence that he has in himself, the confidence the team has in him, this has become the story of the early part of the season. Where, man, if you were to go back in time and Joe Cronin, the Blazers GM, wasn't a cockroach, you probably give up Jaime Jaquez Jr. for Damian Lillard. And you know what? You probably still do it right now. But I don't think there are any Heat fans out there wishing that we did that. I don't think there are any Heat fans out there saying, man, I still would have been okay with giving up Jaime Jaquez Jr. for somebody. Right now, Jaime Jaquez Jr., the Heat snapped the 3-game losing streak. They're 11-8 through almost a quarter of the season. Jaime Jaquez Jr. looks like a building block for this team moving forward. We know Bam is a building block. The Heat will tell you Tyler Hero is a building block. Jimmy's not a building block. He's up there in age. Jaime Jaquez Jr. looks, through just a quarter of his rookie season, like a building block for this Heat team. And last night, another example, as Jaime Jaquez Jr., he was ball in his hand, step back fadeaways from 15, cut to the basket, layups. What a performance. 14 of his 22 points coming in the fourth quarter last night, and a handful of it with Jimmy Butler on the bench, including the Heat taking their very first lead of the game 2 minutes into the fourth quarter.
Richardson. For the cutting Jaquez Jr. And Miami goes in front. 104 to 103. Timeout Pacers.
So the Heat take the lead there. Great pass by Josh Richardson. Richardson, by the way, I called him unplayable after his first few games this year. He has been awesome. I'm so happy for Josh Richardson because I loved the signing. I love the signing because I love nostalgia. I'm such a sucker for nostalgia in sports. And like I said, I think the addition of Josh Richardson's better than Gabe Vincent. He is. And now Gabe Vincent's been hurt, but before he got hurt, go ask Laker fans what they think of Gabe Vincent. And it's that usual, not as good as he was when he was with the Miami Heat, huh? Josh Richardson is an improvement on Gabe Vincent. And Jaime Jaquez Jr., look, you got Duncan Robinson, who's back to supplying the three-point shooting. Obviously, you're going to get Tyler Hero back. Jaime Jaquez Jr. is better than Max Strus. They're going to be better off in the postseason. This team is deeper. Jaime Jaquez Jr., 24 points last night, 5 rebounds, 8 of 13 from the floor. How about 7 of 7 from the free throw line? How about a rookie coming off the bench, 7 for 7 from the free throw line? And then you had the most exciting stretch. The Heat went on a big run in the fourth quarter after taking their very first lead of the game, and Duncan Robinson putting the Heat up by double figures.
Rebound, Richardson. Robinson for 3. Yes!
Oh, hell yeah. Duncan Robinson in transition. Kaseya center, they're going crazy. The DJ's got his finger on playing Pepas at the next timeout. Everybody's very excited. And then on the very next possession, Josh Richardson finds Jaime Jaquez Jr. flying to the rim.
A taste of their own medicine with the pitch ahead. Heat really advancing the ball with the outlet.
Jaquez! Oh, he almost pulled the roof down.
What a terrific performance. The crowd was into it. A great game as the Heat win 142-132. Second most points the Heat have ever scored in regulation. Now, that's a product of two things. Number one, the Heat are playing very good basketball, even though they just came off a losing streak. But number two, the Pacers don't defend. They play very fast, very high-octane team. So that's obviously a major part of it. But the Heat win last night, 142-132. They improved to 11-8. And Jaime Jaquez Jr., the story. He's the talk of, when everyone talks about rookies now. Like, I played the clip yesterday from J.J. Redick where he said, hey, after, Chet Holmgren, Victor Wembanyama, Jaime Jaquez Jr. Everyone, when they talk about rookies, is talking about Jaime Jaquez Jr. A steal Jaquez Jr. has been. Look at the last few games here. I think it's the last 6 games of Jaime Jaquez Jr. Look, for the season, he's averaging 12 points per game, 12 points per game, 4 rebounds, 3 assists. He's shooting 53% overall. For a wing player, are you kidding me? And these last 6 games for Jaime Jaquez Jr., double figures in all of them. All right, how about this? At Chicago, 19 points. At Cleveland, 22 points, 8 rebounds. At New York, 15 points, 5 rebounds, 4 assists. At Brooklyn, 18 points, 5 rebounds, 4 assists. Milwaukee, 14 points, 4 rebounds, 6 assists. Indiana, season high, 24 points, 5 rebounds, 7 of 7 from the free throw line. He is a stud. The Heat got themselves a good one. They got themselves a real one right here. This is a building block type of player that the Heat have. Very, very exciting what's going on with Jaime Jaquez Jr. And so I put out a ZASLOW Show 2.0 poll question today. We love when I do the poll questions. And here's what I got. Go to @ZASLOW Show on Twitter. Make sure you go vote. I'll give you an updated look at what it is right now. But today's ZASLOW Show 2.0 poll question. All right. Is Jaime Jaquez Jr. going to be a star? That's the question. Is that tough? And you got 3 answers. Is Jaime Jaquez Jr. going to be a star? And here's what we got. The answers are yes, he already is, or slow your roll. 3 choices. Yes, he's a star. He's going to be a star. He already is a star, or slow your roll. Those are the 3 choices. And right now, the leader, at 53% of the vote, yes, he is going to be a star. At 25%, he already is. And 22%, slow your roll. Understandable. Only 19 games into the season. But is Jaime Jaquez Jr. going to be a star? 53% of you guys vote yes, he is going to be a star. I think you guys are very smart. Very exciting. And I told you guys, one of the, I believe, disappointments in not acquiring Damian Lillard is the status quo, right? Is, all right, we know the Heat are going to get there in the postseason. We know they're going to be there. We know that they are going to be a pain in the ass for anyone, and they could beat anyone. But what about October through April? What are we doing for those 6 months? What's going to grab our attention? Can't do in-season tournament for 6 months. And if they acquire Damian Lillard, that gives the regular season a ton of juice. And I think part of the disappointment in not acquiring Damian Lillard was, what is there interesting about this team in the regular season while we wait for the postseason? I enjoy the journey, but not everyone does. You got to have something spruce up the journey before you get to the destination. And Jaime Jaquez Jr. right now is the star of the journey. He has upped the interest in this Heat team on a nightly basis because you want to watch this kid grow. And for that matter, what Josh Richardson is doing and Duncan Robinson's resurgence. We got a few things that are new to this team this year that has grabbed your attention. And that's important in an 82-game season. So, look, we know what Jimmy is. Bam's going to be just fine. And they're going to get Tyler back. What do they wind up doing with Tyler? I don't know. The reality is Tyler should come off the bench. Now, that's going to be a tough pill to swallow for him. But the reality is he should be with the second unit. Not because those are like the guys he should be with, but because the starting group, having Tyler man that second unit, I think puts the Heat in the best position to succeed moving forward. That's a situation for Coach Spoelstra to deal with. But Jaime Jaquez Jr., that's the story right now. Stud. Total stud. Officially. I'm on the record now. Sometimes you got to go on the record. I'm on the record. Building block for the future. Jaime Jaquez Jr. Yep. That's right. So the Heat get that dub. Now, can we get the double dip? Now, this is all happening at the same time. Like, the Panther game ended a little bit before that, but not for me. So I'm now sitting down. I'm going to watch the Panthers. It's like 10:30 at night, 10:45. Let's put the Panthers on, you know? I'm in the ZASLOW Mansion family room, sitting on the couch in my underwear. I got a Johnny Cuba in my hand. That's right. Johnny Cuba, official beer of ZASLOW Show 2.0. If you haven't tried a Johnny Cuba yet, you're so stupid. But you have time to turn that around. We're talking the most delicious beer. A European roots, a Caribbean soul. It's a refreshing German lager in a can. I love when you guys tell me or you send me a picture. ZASLOW, I'm trying Johnny Cuba for the first time. It's so good. Muy delicioso. And I'm like, yeah, I know it's delicioso. That's why it's the official beer of ZASLOW Show 2.0. Go pick up a 6-pack of Johnny at your local Sedano's, Presidente, Winn-Dixie, Fresco y Mas. Always drink responsibly. And of course, don't forget Johnny Cuba's mantra, stay tranquilo. So the Heat next up, Indiana again, tomorrow night at home. Might be a big game or not a big game. No spoilers. The Panthers looking to go 2 out of 3 on this little Canadian road trip. They won the first game in Ottawa, 5-0. Took that ass and beat them up. Then the second game, weird finish in Toronto, lost 2-1 in a shootout. Okay, so if they can win in Montreal and you get 5 out of a possible 6 points, excellent job. Well, it's scoreless after the first. It's a good game. And then in the second period, the Panthers, they get a rush, and the captain put the Panthers on the board.
Newhook has it stolen away. Barkov moves with Reinhart 2-on-1. Alexander Barkov shoots, he scores! Barkov snaps it home off the rush, and the Panthers are on the board first.
Beautiful. Sometimes you gotta be selfish. It's Barkov's, it's his biggest weakness, is that he's too unselfish sometimes. He decided to keep it, puts it right over the top left shoulder of the goalie. 1-0. The captain gets the goal. I believe it was his 7th of the season. Then we go into the third period. It's only a 1-0 game. And it's a good game. Bobrovsky's been very good. We get to this third period. 8 seconds in Sam Bennett.
Panthers have been great at protecting leads. Bennett breaks in, looking for a chance. Score! 8 seconds into the third. Sam Bennett snaps it home. It's 2-0 Panthers.
Well, he's had some chances in this hockey game as Sam Bennett, winning the battles and that, and again, a costly turnover in the neutral zone, and Bennett with that long strike.
Sam Bennett, third goal of the season, just a rifle right past the goalie. All of a sudden, the Panthers are up 2-0 at the very start of the third. The first few minutes of the third period, Panthers poured it on.
And Reinhart turns into the Montreal zone, left it for Rodriguez, who fires and scores! Evan Rodriguez! And the Panthers get a couple of quick ones in the third. It's 3-0.
Nobody deserves more to score than Evan Rodriguez. We know the chances that he's had and the playmaking.
Now the floodgates are opening. Evan Rodriguez, with his fourth goal of the season, makes it 3-0. And then, just 6 minutes into the third period, the Panthers, 3 goals in the first 6 minutes of the
Start the trip on Monday night. Verhaeghe's got a chance and he scores! Carter Verhaeghe on the power play, and it's 4-0.
Another broken play after the Panthers tried a cross-ice pass. It was deflected, but Bright look at following up. You'll see here in a second, Verhaeghe was in position A to fire it.
Yep, there it is. Carter Verhaeghe, 10th goal of the season, 4-0. The Panthers scored 3 goals in the first 6 minutes of the third period. They would wind up winning 5-1. Oliver Ekman-Larsson with about 10 seconds left. He scored, I think, his 5th goal of the season it was. And the Panthers, 5 out of 6 points they get on this trip. And now they are back home for a short little, I think it's a 3-game homestand that begins tomorrow night against the New York Islanders. That's what I'm talking about. The Panthers improved to 14-7-2. They're a defensive team now, man. Look at this road trip. They are playing that defensive style that they played in the postseason. That took them all of last regular season to really, not perfect, but to adjust to. And they're doing it, like Goldie said last night, they're playing postseason hockey in the regular season. It's awesome. They gave up no goals in Ottawa. They technically only gave up 1 goal in Toronto because the second one was for the shootout. And then they gave up 1 goal in Montreal. 2 goals in this 3-game trip in Canada, with Anthony Stolarz in net for the middle game there. Panthers getting great goaltending. The Panther defense is much improved from last year. And you could see on nights like last, and the Panthers penalty kill, I think they're 26 or last 26. But on nights like last night, they show you they can still light the lamp. 5 goals in Ottawa, 5 goals last night in Montreal. I love this team. I love my favorite little hockey team. So, double dip last night. You know it. Heat get the W last night. Panthers get the W last night. And now we go into a big game in the nation's capital this weekend. You know what I'm talking about. First, here's also what I'm talking about. If you're thinking about getting a new car, I send you to the only car dealership I personally endorse here on ZASLOW Show 2.0, North Fort Lauderdale Subaru. At North Fort Lauderdale Subaru, they're providing customers with an exceptional experience, a relaxed indoor car shopping experience, or you can get your car serviced by the most professional staff there at North Fort Lauderdale Subaru. And you don't have to bring a Subaru to get it serviced. They service all makes and models. So whatever you're driving right now, you're going to be treated like royalty at North Fort Lauderdale Subaru. And with an extensive new and pre-owned Subaru inventory, plus used cars, trucks, SUVs of every make and model, you're sure to find your next vehicle at North Fort Lauderdale Subaru. Plus, all new Subarus and most pre-owned vehicles come with a lifetime warranty, so you know you're covered. And right now, at North Fort Lauderdale Subaru, you can make 0 down payment, 0 payments for 3 months, and make 0 security deposit. I mean, what are we talking about here? Go to nflsubaru.com. That's nflsubaru.com for full details. North Fort Lauderdale Subaru, the location you know with an experience you'll